Today, I want to round up and react to the SEC and how I think we have an undisputed number one ranked team in college football, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time today. I want to round up, talk about the SEC. Start with this. The Egg Bowl was actually kind of interesting in that Will Rogers might be the dude that breaks all those Mississippi State records that I thought that KJ Costello was going to break. 41 of 61 for 440 yards with 3 touchdowns. Jerry and Ely also had an outstanding day. 18 carries, 93 yards and a TD. And Jaden Wiley out there with 9 catches, 176 yards, and a 31-24 win for Ole Miss, right? So, Mike Leach is not really good in these rivalry situations, as you could see from the Washington State record. The Apple Cup didn't exactly go his way. Matter of fact, he only won that game one time. Meanwhile, Ole Miss moves to 4-4 this season, 4-4 in conference. Mississippi State follows to 2-6, 2-6 in the conference. And yet, I still think that this is going to be a turning point for both of these programs, as Mississippi State has been on again, off again, but Mike Leach is trying to turn this program into the kind that he wants. I'm sure he's going to look at this in the spring and say, we shedded a lot of fat. We shedded a lot of weight. Guys that either wanted to go to the NFL, like Kylan Hill, and guys that just didn't want to play for Mike Leach. And you need guys that want to play for Mike Leach more than you need anything else. Meanwhile, Ole Miss is really just a defense away, I think. Matt Corral is an outstanding quarterback this year. Jerry and Ely can play baseball if that's what he wants to do. He's an outstanding tailback. We all know what Elijah has been able to do this year. And now just seeing this game be competitive was a lot of fun because it wasn't that long ago that Mississippi and Mississippi State were ranked among the top 3 teams in the country. I want to say it's even just 2011. Outstanding year for Mississippi college football. Moving to Missouri, stopping a mud hole in Vanderbilt, walking it dry. That was not the story, though. Connor Bazelak went 30 of 37 for 318 yards, and Larry Roundtree added 21 carries, 160 yards, 3 tutties, and of course, Tyler Batty, 7 catches, 102 yards. We're talking about Sarah Fuller. Sarah Fuller became the first woman to play Power 5 football ever. For all the crap, and there's been a ton of it, in 2020 to go down, that news made me feel good. For those of y'all that have daughters, that have wives that love football, that have sisters that love football, moms that love football, this was a really cool moment to be able to share with them. Shout out to Brave and Weapon X, my 2 favorite little girls, and Sarah Fuller putting on for them, man. In a year in which we've seen all sorts of slogans and we've seen all sorts of acknowledgement to Black Lives Matter and what our country is still facing in terms of race, seeing Play Like a Girl on the back of Sarah Fuller's helmet as she went out to execute that squib kick was awesome and outstanding. Play Like a Girl, the organization, claimed it received over 300 emails and donations around Sarah Fuller playing football for Vanderbilt. She played goalie on a SEC championship team, and she's going to go play North Texas and go to grad school there as well. She's from Wiley, Texas. Shout out Texas there. She would probably do it again. And shout out to Derek Mason, who saw that his team actually is trash and was not going to get her into field goal range and did not want to waste an opportunity where they might not actually get the ball back to try to get her in the game by starting the second half with a squib kick. I enjoy every bit of that. Georgia beats up on South Carolina 45-16. Luke Doty 18-22 for 190 yards for SC. James Cook for Georgia, 6 carries, 104 yards. Goodness me. This was over, boat race over before it got started. Georgia moves to 6-2 this season. We'll see if they stay at number 9. I don't think that they will. The news actually for Georgia came ahead of what we saw, which was that Dwan Mathis is no longer with the program. Expect him to transfer. There's a number of places where he might look to go. Maybe Duke, because Chase Bryce is going to get up out of there. But they already have a Brock Vandagriff that's on the way in, but there has been some hesitation there. I know Brock wants a chance to play right away. I know he doesn't want to sit in after what you saw at LSU with Max Johnson and, well, TJ Finley getting into the game against Texas A&M we'll get to. I can see why he might want to change his mind a little bit. So Florida beats up on Kentucky 34-10, number 6 Florida, in a game where Kyle Trask only goes 21 of 27 for 256, 3 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts, who I think needs to go into the NFL draft, not as a tight end, but as a wide receiver, has 5 catches, 99 yards, 3 tutties. My question isn't whether or not Kyle Trask is a Heisman winner or a Heisman contender, because it feels like most people want him to win the pageant. My question is, did anybody watch that game? The reason I'm asking is because Kentucky plays a brand of football that is trying to complement its offense by trying to keep its offense off the field, by keeping its offense on the field. So they want to run the ball and they want to run the clock down. So you're just not going to get that many opportunities to have the ball if you're Florida, which means you're not going to be able to throw the ball 40 times if you're Florida. You're lucky to get 27 for Kyle Trask. Damian Pierce was lucky to get 8 carries for 67 yards. You get what I'm saying here? Even so, they still managed to beat up on Kentucky pretty good, moving to 7-1, 3-6. They're on a collision course with Alabama in the SEC championship game. Texas A&M beats LSU 20-7 in a game that was 13-0 for too long, and in a game where I felt like LSU had every opportunity to try to go steal a win against the number 5 team in the country. And Terrace Marshall still managed to have 10 catches, 134 yards from 2 different quarterbacks who are true freshmen. TJ Finley goes 9 of 25 with 2 picks and still manages to outduel Kellen Mond, who looked absolutely awful and is probably the singular reason as to why I can't put Texas A&M in a college football playoff if there's carnage ahead of them. They're just not that good, even if Isaiah Spiller is. 27 carries, 141 yards, and a TD. Dan Orlovsky actually compared Isaiah Spiller to Ezekiel Elliott, and I'm going, I don't see it. But then he is as big, he is as fast, and you know what? He's doing a hell of a job holding on to the ball, which is more I can say than one Zeke Elliott. LSU really needed to have something cool happen for them this year. This was, I think, their last opportunity for that to happen, as they're going to have to play Alabama whether they want to or not to come up here, just like Auburn. Alabama stomped a mud hole in Auburn in the Iron Bowl, 42-13, with Nick Saban at home watching via Zoom, shouting from his office while Miss Terry was downstairs. Mac Jones puts on another Heisman display, 18 of 26, 302 yards, 5 touchdowns. Najee Harris has 11 carries, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Devontae Smith, 7 receptions, 171 yards, 2 TDs. My buddy Daniel says Devontae Smith is the best player in college football. I say, what happened to Jalen Waddle? He said, can't be the best player in college football if you're not playing. All right. I also agree with his comp that Deshaun Jackson is who Devontae Smith could be in the NFL. Just a guy that could take the lid off the defense. He's just skinny, and that's the only thing that's going to hold him back. I love their core, even without Waddle. Slade Bolden, I think, is a player, right? We know about Jay Billingsley. He's going to be a player if he isn't already. We know about Miller Forstall. And, of course, John Mechie is coming on really, really strong. Problem with the Heisman for Alabama is it's usually a quarterback award, but people would tell you Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Najee Harris are all better football players than Mac Jones, even as Mac Jones is one of the 3 best quarterbacks in football this year, right? I find that to be wild. They're also 8-0, which means that they have played twice as many games as Ohio State, and they're my clear number 1 in the college football playoff rankings, which leads me to another question about who's going to be number 2, 3, and 4, because I think we're going to have to do a lot of math there and figure out what it is that we want this playoff to be in the Corona season. All right, that's it for me. Doses.